Hello, 1B families and students. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our rewards program. So I mentioned it to the kids earlier today because I was excited that I found something, but it wasn't very well planned out. So now that I've had some time to think through things, I'll kind of give you the key points of how this is going to work. So basically there's two parts to our rewards program. One is Class Dojo, and that's the thing that you're going to be receiving a code for very soon, and you'll need to get your child set up with Class Dojo. Later on in the video today, I'll show you how to do that. So you'll know what to do. You can also log in as a parent if you want to. It's not really necessary. As a student, you'll see the same number of things, and I'll show you how that works. But Class Dojo is basically how your students will be earning points for expected behaviors during class, like paying attention, like participating, like using their microphone correctly, not using the chat, and then getting their homework done every day on time. Those are the things that they can earn points for. They can also lose points for things which are the opposite of things you would gain points for. So if they're fooling around during class, if they're not visualized on the screen, so if they're disappearing halfway through a lesson, if they're not participating, if they're not using the chat appropriately or using their microphone appropriately, those are things that they can lose points for. So basically, we're in kind of the third month of school, and sometimes we need a little bit more of an incentive to continue on, especially at this time of year when we're starting to drag a little bit. So here's our incentive. So Class Dojo is the first thing. We're going to talk about that with the kids tomorrow. That's how they earn and receive points. The aquarium thing that I mentioned to them earlier is the way that they can spend those points. So that's how they're going to use those points to add things into their aquarium. That will be on Google Classroom. And I'll put a post there, and they'll see their aquariums. They'll see all the different things they can add in and how much they cost, because basically they're going to be trading in Class Dojo points for things that go into their aquarium. So still working out the kinks on this one, but I think we've got a fairly good plan moving forward. So two different parts. Class Dojo is where they're going to be earning points, and then the aquarium, which will be on Google Classroom, is where they can spend and redeem those points by adding things to their aquarium. So now I will show you about how to get into Class Dojo, what we are going to be looking for in Class Dojo, and how that kind of works. All right, so Class Dojo is another program. There's a web component, or there's an app if you're using a mobile device or a tablet. They both work very similarly, and it's not at all connected to Google Classroom or Seesaw, unfortunately. So it's something else that we're going to have to learn and get used to, but I think it will be worth it for the enthusiasm that the kids will show for it. So if you have older brothers or sisters, or maybe used in kindergarten, it's a really quick and easy way for me to give kids points if they're paying attention or getting homework done. And then being remote learners, there's a neat feature where you can download your app or log into your component at home, and you can see the record of the points that I've given for the day or taken away for the day and how that works. So basically, every parent in EDSB will be receiving a sheet that tells you how to access Class Dojo, whether it's on a Chromebook or a laptop, or if it's on a mobile device. You can do it both ways. And part of that information will be a QR code. Now, the QR code is where you will get to sign in. So when you get the app or you get to the website, you're gonna see this. Parents, you can also sign in separately if you want. I'm not gonna go over that today because it's something that's optional, but you can explore that if you want. Basically, students are going to click student, and then it will ask them, how are you going to sign up? We are going to sign up with the QR code, the green thingamajig here. And then all parents will be getting a QR code. I'm just showing, the one off of my phone here. And you'll need to scan that in. And when you do, it will, voila, magically bring you to your child's Class Dojo icon. So my little guy here says Mrs. B Bouvier, just because I wanted the Mrs. B part to show on the screen. And there's lots of things you can do. You can change what they look like and all sorts of crazy things that I'm sure your kids will figure out. But the two most important things that we want to pay attention to are this world thing that says Mrs. Bouvier's online grade ones. This is where it shows you your points. So right now I have 1 point. And then down below it says view report. If we click that, this shows me where I got my points from, what good things, green, that I did, positive points, and what red things or negative things. So I was participating, I was helping others, but then I was playing with toys. And if you scroll down, it gives you specifics of what time they happened and when that happened and what days that happened. So that can be really powerful if you're trying to work on a specific behavioral goal, like paying attention or making sure you're not playing with things. Now, of course, there are 29 of us in the classroom, so I'm not going to be on this 100% all the time, but I will try to make sure that we're in there at least a couple of times every day, so you can have kind of a snapshot. The other part, that's view report. The other part that's important is up here where it says journal. So this is the part where your child will be learning how to redeem their class dojo points for things in their aquarium. So I'm going to go over this with them during class too, but basically if they click on journal, they would type in instructions to me about how they want their points. So they could say, Mrs. Bouvier, I want the green fish for 5 points, please. And then they would send that in. They would hand it in to me. When they do that, it sends it to me and I can see it. And then I'll know, they're ready to spend some points and get some things for their aquarium. So that's kind of how the two are connected. The most important thing, though, from Class Dojo is that you can actually see in real time, too, if you really wanted to, how your child is doing with points and whatnot. Again, it's not going to be minute by minute because there are 29 of us, but if I'm noticing consistently that your child's on task, they'll get a point for that in that day. Similarly, if I'm noticing that they're not on task or they're playing or they're leaving the screen or they're not using the chat appropriately, they'll also be dinged for that. So you'll kind of get a view of what's going on if you're not able to be there all the time and be watching what's going on. All right, now if it's on your mobile device, it's a little bit different. And I don't think that I can show that to you very well, but essentially you see this guy, and then I think these little icons, you have to click on his head to get those little icons. So you might have to do some experimenting with that, but hopefully that gives you a bit of an overview for Class Dojo. All right, now kind of secondarily to Class Dojo is the aquarium, and that's the part that I mentioned to the kids early on Tuesday, and they were super excited about, which is my point, to hopefully get them motivated for the rest of the year. The big thing that we're going to try and focus on for most students is just handing in their assignments on time. We want them to start taking some ownership for them. Some of them have no problems with that, but a lot of them I'm seeing missing assignments. So that's the key here. The other part's paying attention. That might only be for certain students that are really kind of struggling in that area, but overall we can all make sure that we're working on those skills. So eventually everybody will see this reward station in Google Classroom. It'll be under a separate topic. And in this reward station, you'll see the different fish that they can purchase with their dojo points. So there's 5 dojo points, there's 10 dojo points, 15, 20, and then the really exciting ones are 25 points. So they can glance through here and see what's what. And then there's also instructions on how to buy items for their aquarium. And those I just went over previously in the earlier part of the video. I'll also walk the kids through this during the day, but just so they get an idea, once they earn enough dojo points, maybe they're saving up for this special yellow fish. They really want this yellow angelfish. And once they have 5 dojo points, they can send me a journal entry in Class Dojo saying, Mrs. Bouvier, I would like the special yellow rainbow fish in my aquarium. I have 5 dojo points, and then I will do that for them. Now, the only way that I can figure this out to make it manageable for me is if all the aquariums are in the same spot. So they're all going to be in this same file, this same Google Slides thing, and the students will not have access to touching them or moving the things around. I'll be putting the fish in or doing that sort of thing for them, and then they can view them, and they'll actually be able to view everybody's aquarium. Again, it's the only way that I can find to do it manageably, because otherwise individually would be a bit of an organizational nightmare for me. So let's say that somebody earns a fish They let me know in Class Dojo. I can say, oh, lucky you, I'm going to pop that yellow angelfish in your aquarium. And if you want it in a special spot, put that in your journal entry too. You say, oh, I want it right in the middle. Okay, there you go. Your angelfish is right in the middle. Maybe he's a little too big. We'll pop him right in the middle. And then the next time when you go and check your aquarium, you'll see your little fishes in there and he's ready to go. And like I said, all the students will be able to see each other's aquariums. I'll just have all of them in the same slide. But the one they're really interested in, of course, is their own. So we're going to give this a try, see how it works. We might make some adjustments as we go along. And also because it does require me checking the Class Dojo journals and making sure that we have the right number of dojo points and everything is working. It won't be instantaneous, so it'll build patience in our children as well. We'll talk more about this in school, but just so you get an idea, this will be in Google Classroom. Class Dojo is something separate, but we bring them together by adding stuff to their aquarium. I think the last part that I wanted to mention to you is when I first introduced this to you, number one, please check out and make sure that you have an aquarium. I don't want to miss anybody's aquarium. So you'll want to come in to this slide and you can either view it in present mode, like we view other things. When you click up here and then it presents it and you can just go ahead and click through and see all of them. Or you can scroll through on the side until you find your name. It's in alphabetical order. So if your name is near the beginning of the alphabet, you'll be at the beginning. Once you find yours, so let's say that I'm Ameera and I find Ameera's, note what number it is. So it will never change. Ameera's will always be slide 11. So that means once she knows that, she can just go into present mode and she can click here where it says slide number. And she can hop right to slide 11 and just look at her own aquarium. So that'll be the first thing that I'm asking students to do is double checking, first of all, that they have an aquarium and then what number their aquarium is. And then they can hop to it really quick instead of having to go through everybody's aquarium trying to find their number. If they want to look at everybody's, they can. But the most important thing is that you check that you do have an aquarium and then you know what number it is. So every day that you want to check it or whenever you want to check it, you can hop right to that number and you can check your aquarium.